Hello my friends, how are you today? It's your host Andre again. Now let me make sure that the music is not that loud. Alright, here we go. So how are you today? It's Thursday afternoon here in Czech Republic in the center of the Europe, and we're slowly going towards the weekend. Tomorrow is the Innovation Day Friday, so we're always meeting in a very nice time. And today we have a very interesting topic ahead of ourselves. Now, the last 3 streams I did about converting Kentico Advantage, so an old Gatsby site into a new Gatsby site, so to use the new source plugin. Today I want to do a little bit of a detour from that, and today I want to create a new starter site and touch a bit on Gridsome. Now, the few past days I was working on an article about the differences between Gridsome and Next and between Gatsby and Next.js. That article is coming soon. So make sure to subscribe to my Twitter. It's twitter.com/underbus. You see the handle right here on the screen. Now that article will be hopefully published sometime next week as I finish the final touches. But today I want to take a look at Gridsome a bit more. Now, the last time I was working Gridsome, it's like 4 or 5 months ago, I think. When I was working on my wedding site, but from then I didn't work with Vue.js at all. So it's gonna be like a start for me. So if you're a beginner to Gridsome, you don't know what Gridsome is about, that's the right place for you to be, is in this stream. So Gridsome is a static site generator, or whatever you want to call that kind of tool, for Vue.js. I'm a very big fan of Vue.js. I find it very straightforward and nice. So that's what Gridsome is, and the reason why I want to do a starter site is that we don't have one for Gridsome, so that's what I want to do today. Now, this what you're looking at. This is can you see the whole thing? Yeah, I think you can. Cool. So this is a Lumen site. I don't know if you're familiar with Gatsby. If you are, then you probably know Lumen. This is an ultimate Gatsby theme. Currently, this one is connected to a headless CMS called Kentico Kontent, and I wanna stick to that. Yeah, I wanna use the same template, the same structure, the same data even, but just do it with Gridsome. So where do we start? So this thing, Gatsby starter content lumen.netlify.app. This is just a live demo, right? This is just to see how things are working. And the first step that I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna clone this repo to have it locally. So first I wanna make sure that I can run it locally. Let's take a look. I created a new stream. Oh, one other news that I have. I bought an NVMe hard drive, which should help a lot with things like node modules and others. So I'm really interested to see how this is gonna help the performance, but let's clone this one. So git clone. I'm gonna clone the whole thing here into Gatsby starter content lumen. Wow, that was quick. All right. So now let's see if we can actually run it. I'm just gonna check real quick what's the Gatsby config here. If we need, let me just get rid of this stuff. So I just want to check if we can use this as it is, or we need to add. Okay, so there is a content project ID. We might need to add one. So let me see. Is there? Oh, there is no .env file. All right. So it seems we need to add a content project ID. All right. Let's take a look at the README here. It says here, getting started. All right. So I do have Node.js installed. Create codebase. Create your own repository from this template. That's what I already did. Next step is to go to app content AI and create an empty project. I did that part as well. So this is my new project, Gridsome Lumen. This is the project ID. I'm just gonna make this one available. It's public anyway, so you can use this ID as well if you just want to try it out. What do we do next? So go to project settings, select API keys, and copy project ID. Okay, I can do that. So I go to settings, API keys, and I copy the project ID. And then install Content Backup Manager and import data to newly created project from contentbackup.zip. Okay, cool. Do I need to install it? Oh, here we go. So I don't need to go in there. It's just defined here. So let's just copy this thing. Oh, but I have, okay, so in my clipboard, there's the project ID. So I'm just going to put it right here for now. And I'm going to install this thing. So that's the Content Backup Manager. I'm going to install it globally. But I assume I could just install it locally as well. Doesn't matter. Okay, so while this installs, let's take a look at this thing. So Kentico Backup Manager. So we're restoring something. This zip file with this API key and this project ID. Okay, so I'm just gonna prepare this thing. Okay, this was downloaded, perfect. Oh, not yet, not yet. Ooh, nice. Yeah, well, I did just copy that thing. It actually does have the file available. Nice, so we have the backup file here. And it actually tried to restore it, but obviously the API key is not working and the project ID is not working. So let me just fix that, because this command actually has the carriage return at the end. So it tried to import the data right away, but let me fix that. So API key, I'm just gonna get that from here as well. So that's the management API. Let me activate that and take this key. I'm gonna take that key, put it here. Then we have the project ID. Now don't bother copying the API key from the screen. I'm just gonna deactivate it once I import the data. So no need to do that. And I'm gonna try to run the action again. So let's clean this up. Put the action there, and here we go. Let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, it's importing stuff, which is good. So we do have some mismatch with languages. You see the default language English with codename EN/US does not match the default language in target project. So changing language code in target project from default to EN-US. Now, whenever I'm starting to work on some projects, I do this step anyway. So you don't want to have a default language with a codename default, and you want to fall back to the language code. So I do this step anyway. So it's nice that the tool did it for me. And let's see how long. Okay, now this is completed. Let's take a look at what kind of content we have here. All right, everything is in draft. So it would be nice if that tool actually published everything as well. But if we look at content types, we do have some content types here. When we look at the languages, here we go. So we have default project language, EN/US. Let's call that English, actually. I prefer that to default. I got another one, check here with CS-C set. That's nice. Now let me just do this thing, this publishing right away, so that if I don't publish it, I'm not gonna have the data available publicly, right? So this is the first thing I wanna do, is publish everything. It's gonna take a second. Here we go. Now we have everything published, everything will be live and available publicly, so that's what I want. So what's the next step? Next step is go to your content project and publish all. Okay, now that's what I already did. Now copy .env.template and name it .env. So I think I just missed the file. It seems, all right, it's here. So .env.template, so I'm just gonna make that a .env file. And let's see. All right, so we do have some content project ID here. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change that to the one that I just created. So that's this ID. You can also get it from the API keys section. Okay, I'm deactivating the management API now. You can also get it from here. Yeah, so up to you. Now let's put that here. Content language code names are EN/US CSCZ, and we don't want to use previews. So I think I can just leave it as it is. So that's what I did. You are now ready to use this site as your own. Nice. So let's just run npm install. and then we're gonna run prepare environment and run develop. Okay, so while this loads, let's take a look at Gridsome. So Gridsome is a Jamstack framework for Vue.js. It says that it makes it easy for developers to build statically generated websites and apps that are fast by default. Now that's really true. I've had some fun with Gridsome already, but let's see how we can start with this static site generator. So I always like to start with the starter. So I do already. Oh, I'm not using CLI, or do I? Not sure actually. But what we can do is we can already start working on this. So let's take a look here. Just gonna open a new window. And let's see if Gridsome is here. Oh, I do have the CLI installed, right? So let's say Gridsome create, how is that site called? Gatsby starter content Lumen. So let's say this is Gridsome starter content Lumen. Okay, it's trying to clone the default starter, which is I guess what I want here. Fetching packages, linking dependencies, nice. Let's take a look at Gatsby here. All right, so this is done. So let's switch back here to this project, and let's say npm run prepare environment. It actually creates an env file, but I already did that step, so I don't need to do that. So npm run develop. Let's see if that's gonna work. And it looks good. It was successfully built. Now, just waiting for a nice message that says, do whatever you want on localhost and port 8000. I think Gatsby uses 8000, so I think I'm right here. Here we go. So localhost 8000. Nice. So the website seems to be working. Articles, about me, contact, everything is in order. It is a bit bigger than this thing. Let me see if, oh, that's because this was set to 150%. Wow. Why? Okay, never mind. I just reset that, so now it looks much better. So this is essentially what we wanna get on Gridsome. We're gonna use the same data, same project, so we don't have to care about content. That's coming from the headless CMS, right? So we only care about the front end. So let me see how this website is implemented. Now this is I'm just gonna close this and open a new folder in here. All right, here we go. Let me switch this to a dark theme. I prefer the dark theme. I was just doing some screenshots in the light screen, light theme, but let's take a look. So I'm looking for some essentials, like how does the main index page look like? And I'm also looking for, okay, let's take a look at Gatsby config first. So here we're using some urls.env, of course. Okay, nothing special here. Okay, we are building some pages here, but this we can also fix later. So this creates pages. Now let's take a look at the templates. I'm just trying to figure out where are the styles that are needed for this site. So let's take a look at assets first. Okay, here it is, SCSS. So we got some SCSSs here. And I think this is the main one, the init one. So let's take a look at how we can do this in Gridsome. So let's, okay, I'm gonna do the same with Gridsome. I'm gonna open code here. Okay, cool. So I get layouts, pages, components, stuff like that. First, what I want to do is I want to install the content plugin. So let's take a look. There it is. So how to get started? Let me see that, please. So npm install this thing. So I'm just going to install that so that we know, that the data will make it into Gridsome as well. So that's what I want, but I also want to save that into the dependencies. Oh, but we're in the wrong folder. So we just want to go first to Gridsome folder and then do this. Okay, and save the dependency here. And in the meantime, I'm just going to Google for how to use Gridsome with SCSS. So I think, was it SCSS? I think so. Yeah. So how do I do that? Okay, here is some GitHub issue, which will probably put some light on this. So let's take a look. So it seems like it's in assets and it's just imported in the main.js. So let's try to do it the same way. So here we're gonna try to do the same here. So main is in the source, so I'm just going to create a new folder here called assets. And I'm going to copy and paste there all the styles from Gatsby. Okay, I'm just going to take the whole thing and put it here under assets. Can I do it from here? No. No, not in terminal, but in Explorer. Just going to put that here. Perfect. So now what we want is assets slash SCSS slash init SCSS. SCSS. Yeah, that should work. We'll see if this works, but I think it should because main.js is here. That's also in the source folder, so this should be fine. Okay, they say it works. Can reproduce this error on Gridsome 036. Let's see what kind of version we have here. So we have 0.7.0, so we should be good. So that solves the styles. Let's see if this was already loaded. Okay, some problems here. Operation not permitted. Operation was rejected by operating system. Okay, that's interesting. Let me see if this was actually installed. No, it wasn't. Okay, let's try it again. I really want that plugin because otherwise I won't be able to get the data in my site. Okay, now this seems to work. We finally have it there. So we should be good. Let me try to run this for a moment. So I think this is Gridsome develop, but let's see what the documentation says. So we created the project and Gridsome develop. Okay. So Gridsome develop. Oh, I think I need to do npm install first here as well. And let's run it. Nope, still something wrong. Something went wrong installing the sharp module. Look for errors, consult, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's see. That's where you start Googling, right? And just put here Gridsome. I think I stumbled upon this error in the past, but I don't know how I solved it. Something went wrong. Let's take a look here. Okay, I'll try that. npm rebuild. Usually fixes this. Okay, I'll trust you. Let's see. Okay, that looks much better. So now it's building. Failed to compile with one error. The dependency was not found in source main. Okay, so my dependency was not found. Why not? /assets/css/init.css. Okay, the files are there. So let's Google again for this. Using SASS. Okay. So you need to run command npm e sysloader node sys. That I didn't do. All right, let's stop this. Install for development sysloader node sys. Okay. Let's try that. Here we go. Now let's try to run this. Here we go. So localhost 8080 is the new Gatsby, new Gridsome site. Localhost 8080. Nice. So this is still the hello world of Gridsome, but it should have the styles in place. So at least we get that part right. And now we start with the layout. So I'm just gonna remove the index page in a second, but first I need to check how does the layout look like here. So we're looking at layout component of Gatsby. And what do we have here? So div class name. And this is the web spotlight annotations. I'm just not gonna include these for now. I'm just gonna go with a simple site here. So I'm just gonna copy this in the layout of Gridsome. So this is again Gridsome. Maybe I'll just make this a bit bigger so that you can see it better. So here we are in Gridsome, and we're looking at layouts, default layout. And obviously I don't want to have this whole thing. I'm just gonna put here the div class name layout. So what do we want here? We want here just the project ID and language code names. No, I'm just gonna leave it out for now. Let's save this for another stream. All right. I don't want these things. Favicon should be included by default, so only thing that should be there is the div class name layout. Why do we have this? Okay, let me remove the styles here because we already included them in the main.js. Just wondering why we have the site name here as that's not used anywhere. So I'm just going to remove that as well. Wow, this is easy layout. Okay, I think we can remove the README file. You can delete this file. Okay, I'm going to do right that. And then we go to index, and index starts with layout. Now, I just want to check if there is anything else to the Gatsby site than this. So we're starting here with layout as well. I'm not sure if there is a parent page. So Next.js does have a document.js6 file that is actually parent of layout, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. So let's take a look at how the website looks now. Okay, children here, nice. But Gridsome does not really work like that. Here we go. And I totally forgot what was there. So let me just go back for a second, but it should be children, shouldn't it? I'm not gonna save this, but I just want to go back to see what is. Oh, here it's a slot. So it's slot HTML element, not children. So instead of this, I'm just gonna put here slot. Nice. So now we should be fine. You see the website is still working. It does have a little bit of a different layout. That's because I changed it now, but we're fine otherwise. Nice. So we're gonna keep main, and we can continue building this this page. So let's go back to Gatsby and see what else do we have here. So this is the index. We're getting some data here, but I assume that's just for these things. We may need to do that sooner or later, but I'm just gonna copy this for now. So here we are at index.view. And I'm just gonna titty this a bit. Now we don't want the example image, we don't want any of these links, just to remove all of that. And what we want is title. Why do we have that here? For this thing maybe? Let's see what Gatsby does here. So the title, where does the title come from? Raw data, data, content items, site metadata, dot elements, dot title, dot value. Okay, so these are the title and subtitle. So for this page, we're gonna need a page query. So let me see if this is here. No. Let me see the documentation here, because I don't want to, start figuring it out. But let's go to docs here, and we want pages, and we want on the page we want to use a page query. I think it's called page query, but I'm not 100% sure. So I just want to check this. So how do we get data here? So let me Google, or let me search here for page query. Query data in page components. That's exactly what I want. Querying collection. Okay, here it is. So that's exactly what I want. So here, just on the template, I'm just gonna add a page query, and the page query will need to get let's say metadata. Let's call that metadata. And here we're gonna need to know how the data are called in the content plugin here. So first of all, I'm just gonna save this. This is probably gonna fail, of course, because the query is not gonna work. But let me remove the query for now. Just gonna save it without it. And I just want to check what kind of data we have coming from the headless CMS. So I'm just gonna go to the Explorer. Okay. Now we don't want alt page, but what we want is the same thing as in Gatsby. So here we got content items, site metadata. And from those, I want title and subtitle. So it was called site metadata. So I think that would be metadata here. And site name and site description, maybe. Let's see what that does. Oh, no, that's not it. That's not it. I don't think we have anything from content here. How is that possible? Okay, maybe I forgot one very important thing. And that is in Gatsby, no, in Gridsome config, not Gatsby node, but in Gridsome config. The plugin's not there. So I did install the content plugin, but I did not configure it anyway. So let me fix that. Let's take a look at the content. Okay, let's find it here. And what else do we need to do here? Getting started. So I installed it. And of course, I need to add the plugin. So let's go back here. And there can obviously be multiple plugins. So I'm just gonna have to add here an array. And process env Kentico Kontent project ID. Let me see. I don't have the env file here yet, so I'm just gonna create one. And I'm gonna copy over the ID of the project. I can copy it from Gatsby as well. So there is the .env file here. So let's copy that over and save this. And let's see, I'm just gonna have to rebuild this thing because during build, the plugin actually gets the data from the headless CMS. So this is an important task. Let's see, cannot get field ID from type page. Field does not exist. Cannot get field ID from. Okay, let me see. Do we have a type that is called page? Yeah, there is one. And what is he trying to get? Field ID from page. So this sometimes happens. Let's see. Page. Nope, everything is here. Everything is here too, so we should be good. So let's see what's wrong here. So cannot get field ID from type page. Field does not exist. Object type composer. GraphQL compose, object type composer. But why would he get field ID? So he's trying to create schema. See, yeah, this is the same error still. So he's trying to create the schema. Module exports. Plugins, schema. Okay, so what could be wrong here? I think that the problem is somewhere with the plugin that I'm using. This one. But why is it failing at create schema? I think that so the plugin actually probably requires an ID for something, or the Gridsome requires an ID for the page. Let me see the documentation of that. Gridsome content plugin. Rich text fields, blah, blah, blah. Configuration options. Let's take a look at the configuration. Okay, so it's actually gonna create these code names, but that's fine. But here we go. So every content object type shares a core set of fields that include ID. Kentico Kontent's ID is used as the object's ID. That should be fine. So I think that the problem could be that we're trying to get the ID from a wrong place. Now let's take a look here. So gonna take out a node modules, Gridsome. Oh, not Gridsome, but here, source. Let's take a look at where that ID is being gathered from. So content item, create node, this init node, this init node, ID, name, code name, language, this system. ID here. Return node. Okay, so here we init the node. Then we add the fields. Let's take a look here. This add fields. So I think the problem is that somehow we initialize the node and add fields. Let's do here console log node. Let's see what this thing does. Okay. So here we have the ID, item, ID, everywhere are IDs. So what is it that he doesn't like? We have IDs everywhere. So cannot get field from type page. Field does not exist. Okay, let's take a look. GraphQL compose. No, I don't want to get into that, to be honest. From the type page. Okay, we're probably gonna have to look at that. So GraphQL compose. GraphQL compose, lib object type composer. Okay, so he's trying to get the field right from the object. Okay, let's try one other thing. Let's try to just Google for this. Maybe something that I should have done in the first place. Let's take a look here. Upgrading all the Gridsome / plugins. Got it working again. No, it's probably not my issue. Let's take a look at this thing. But I guess we can try that. I mean, they say it's 0.7.6. Let's see what we have here. 0.7.0. So we can try upgrading. So that we're working on the latest. So let's try to update everything. We'll see what works. Okay, how do I update this? So I always forget the right commands. Okay, Gridsome at latest. That's what I want. Wow, guys, time flies. Already working on this for 45 minutes. I did not expect to have this problem. So let's see if the upgrade fixes it. Hopefully it will. Then we can continue with working on the index page. But yeah, we'll see. I'm just wondering. I did my wedding site on this static site generator as well, and I did not expect or I didn't experience any kind of issues like this. So I'm just gonna quickly check what kind of which version I was working with. So this is the package JSON of that site. So I was working with 070. That shouldn't be a problem then. But the fact is I did not update that site for quite a bit. Maybe the problem will occur there as well. So let's see now. Okay, 0.7.20. Nope, still the same thing. cannot get field ID from type page. So let's take a look again how this works. As object ID from the type page. So the page should be lowercase. The object, okay, the object type will be named article. So that's why we get the page here. All right, let's take a look where we create the nodes. So that's here. If node type equals page, we want to log it to see if the ID is there or not. Okay, this wasn't hit at all. So I'm probably doing something wrong. Let's see all the nodes, then let's see if we have the type there at all. Okay, so the type is tag. Oh, it's type name, not type. So type is lowercase. Okay, here we go. So we got some pages here. Handwriting, Gatsby, design, blah, blah, blah. And we do have ID on all of them. Okay, but this is menu item. Let me see. This is a tag. How come we don't have that here? So we don't have any page here. How is that possible? There is a type page, type name page. So this should be hit. Why wasn't this hit? Maybe it's because there is an item here. So let me see. Node.item.type. Okay. This looks a bit better, but yeah, so here we're getting only pages. And maybe the problem is that the ID is only at this level, at the nested level. Let's try that actually. So let's try to do, when we init the node, maybe there is a problem with this plugin. I'm not sure, to be honest. So in this init node, let's try to add here, what's this system? Let's try to add that here. Okay, still doesn't like that, even though we have the ID here. Field does not exist. So I think we need to go back a few steps here. GraphQL pages. So let's take a look at the plugins create schema, which is in Gridsome lib app plugins. So Gridsome lib app and plugins. Plugins, here we go. So the problem was plugins.create schema. Plugins. Okay, here it is. Create schema. This run create schema API, create schema actions. So I guess if we do Gridsome create schema, would that work? Install yarn to install dependencies first. All right. No, I don't want to do that. So create schema API this app. So the next what we do is we go into the same folder and schema.js. Build schema. Here we go. So schema composer builds schema, but then we go to create schema.js. Here it is. And we're getting this app store, extensions, resolvers, schemas. Okay, so I think this is where we want to end up. So we're going into add create schema, Gridsome lib. Okay, this is not app, but this is GraphQL, and create schema. Create schema, here we go. Now I want to take a look how the store looks like. And I think we can comment this out for now. Okay. Page is collection. Type name page. Get node. So then we call the module exports at pages.js. So schema composer adds fields page, which is type, it has args. I don't see any ID here. So maybe really we need to update all so I was looking for this thing. Yeah, so this might be actually the resolution. So upgrading all the Gridsome / plugins got it working again. So how do we do that? So npm update no, I want to update all the packages. I'll just update the dependencies here. Let's see how to do that. Let's see if we can do it like this. So npm install Okay, let's try yarn actually. Yarn upgrade Gridsome latest. How did it look? File, please run yarn install. Okay. If npm doesn't work, we're gonna try yarn. Okay, almost there. Here we go. Let's see if something changed here. In pages, no, this is still the same. Let's see. Upgrading plugins. Dependencies. Nope, this didn't work. So how do we fix this then? Now let's first try to check what this field actually is. I'm interested in that as well, because this, it doesn't tell me anything. So let's go back here. Nope. Nope. Where did I add the console log? Not here. Not here too. think it was around here somewhere, maybe in pages. Nope, it wasn't there. Create schema. I think it was around here somewhere. It's still there, so it must be somewhere. Store. I'm outputting store, so it must have been one of these methods. Let's see. Schema, create schema, maybe in schema.js. That was an app. Nope. Okay, I wanna. How do we search among open files? Search open files. Control-Shift-F. Nice. Okay. I don't know, but let's skip that for now then. And let's take a look at this file. So GraphQL compose lib. GraphQL compose lib. Object type composer. So here what we're gonna do is we're gonna log this GQC fields, whatever that is. And let's see what we have there. So we got a path here and context. Let's try to hold this. So GQC fields does have an ID, so that's interesting. But that is so this is object type composer. We have a lot of types here, and we are looking for this GQ type GQC fields. It's just path and context. But in here we actually do have that. Page filter input. Okay, I'm gonna try one other thing. To really see if this is a problem of the project and of the data, or if this is a problem of Gridsome. I'm going to try to connect it to a different project here. Let me just take this off the screen for a second. I'm going to try to use a different ID here. Some easy one, like this one, for example. So this is a project for my new personal site. So there is just one content type. Okay, now this seems to work. Wow, okay. So the problem is clearly not with Gridsome, but with the data. So let's take a look at what's the problem there. I'm gonna switch back to the project. How did I call it? Gridsome Lumen, here it is. So it's clearly with the data here. And sometimes this happens when there is an asset field that is not filled. So I'm just trying to figure out whether there is any asset field here. Author. There's an author, but that's required, so that should be fine. That should also be fine. Let's take a look at set metadata. Text, text, text. Tag. Now that should all be fine. So, but the page type does not really have anything that Gridsome should be complaining about. So that's what's weird here. Let's take a look at the pages, what they have. So there is one asset here. What we can try is we can take these two things and unpublish them. And see if this is gonna help. No, this still happens. So let's try to archive everything. Now this usually takes a while before it's actually reflected in the deliver response. Okay, now we have nothing there. So let's try to do it this way. And here we go. So this worked. Perfect. So now that we know this, what we can do is we can try to publish some of these things and see where the problem is. Now the problem might be that if I publish something, restore to draft, and let's publish this. Okay. Perfect, this works. I'm just gonna verify it once again in the delivery response so that we know that we have the data there. I'm not sure if this is the right ID. Oh yeah, it is. So we have the data in there and it seems to work. So this way it's not really ideal, but at least we'll be able to figure out what's wrong. So let's restore this. Yes, I'm the contributor. And publish. And let's try it again. Okay, this works. So we're looking for categories. And let's publish them. We got author. See if we got categories here. Yeah, type category. So let's try to compile this now. seems to work. There we go. So this also works. Now let's take a look at the tag. And publish it all. I can also manually check the code in of the plugin to see what's causing the issues. But because I have just a few content types, it's easier this way. But we're finally getting somewhere. All right, so now let's try to build it again. This seems to work too. Nice. Okay, so next thing is menu item. Menu item is there. Let's try to build it again. That works. So we have the site metadata and page. So let's try page. Okay. It's in the response, so let's try to build this. So page seems to work too. So it has to be one of these things. So let's try menu now. And restore it. And publish it. Navigation menu is there. Now let's try it. Okay, here we go. So the navigation menu is what's causing us problems. Let's take a look at what's in there. So this is just a reference to other fields. Contact, contact, about me, and articles. So let's see in the documentation what is the problem with linked items. Linked items contains an array of references to that content objects they are linked to. The plugin assumes that the objects are all of the same object type. Okay, this is not really relevant. Set a field value based on linked content items. So maybe we need to add a resolver here. Type resolvers can be registered via the options exposed by this plugin. You must add an item to the content item config.contentItems object with a key matching the content type codename you wish to specify the type resolver for. Okay. Okay, here we go. So the post series content type has a linked items content element with codename post in series. Post series content item. Okay, so he's doing that right here in the add fields. Now I want to check what's happening there. So we don't have to look at this thing or this thing. We're just looking at Gridsome content item. And we're gonna do this if node.item.type equals, I think it was navigation item, navigation menu. So I think the code name will be just menu. And we're gonna look at what's happening there. So here we go. So linked item fields. Field name is menu items. Linked items is array. Okay, I want to see that. So node linked item fields. Gridsome content item. Okay. This is an array, okay? So we're looking for linked items. First, show me what's in there. Okay, so in there, Gridsome content item. Content item system attributes. There is the ID here, but it's not on this level. And this is menu. Just want to check what are the menu items here. Articles, about me. Okay, so here is the problem. So it's not the first item, which is going to be just articles. Yeah, that's here. But we are looking at about me, which is probably going to be the second one in the list. So let's show us the second one. Okay, the second one is about me. About me, it's a menu item. Linked item elements value. Gridsome content item. So it's there. What's his problem? So show me what's in dot content and dot value. That should be the Gridsome content item with an ID. Gridsome content item. That's the type main page. And here is the system ID, not ID. Maybe he's got a problem with this. Let me see how we actually handle this. So linked item fields, push linked item field. Linked items. Value. This add field, okay. So it's adding this. So this is modular content type field resolver, which is fine. That's exactly what should happen. Linked item field is field name and linked items. That's actually what we are seeing here. So I want to see what's happening here. At least the value. The value should be here. But maybe the value... So I see the value. Here are all the values. Menu items. Field.value. Let's see what's happening here. And I want to comment this out. Okay, we got a bunch of IDs here. That is fine. But what we want to do is just check if the node item type equals, not page, it's menu here. So initializing plugins, we do get the value here. So the value is this array. Let's take a look at the field name. Menu items. Menu items is the field name, which is correct. But the problem occurs a few levels below. So let's see where this is called. Linked items elements contain an array of references to the object content objects they are linked to. The plugin assumes that the objects are all of the same type. Okay, I want to see what's the field here. And who actually calls this? I can't find this anywhere else. Let's see what other files we have here. Content item factory. Seems like this is not used anywhere else. This is weird. Okay, let's try to build this again. When I log the fields, all I get are modular contents. And we're pushing here linked item fields. Okay, so what if we actually not do this? Linked item fields, push linked item field. Let's see. So the node will have linked item fields. Field, linked item field. And that has a field name and linked item fields. Just want to check what was this object type composer working with. GraphQL compose lib object type composer. So I want to see what was this GQC fields, not field name, the whole thing. So what's the problem here? So you got only path and context. Composer. So what should be there normally? Okay, let me fix that. So normally we get ID, path, type name. So we get a scalar type composer. Okay. But for some reason, we're not getting it for the pages, but only for the pages. And the interesting thing is that other linked items seems to work. So let's take a look if we have that somewhere else. Like article, that should have an author. Category tags, or tags, for example, right? So we do have tags, and the tags work. Title and a slug. So this type name should give us page. Yeah, that's page. That's clear. So let's take a look at get field names. What's this gonna do? Nothing. Get field names is not defined. Oh yeah, I should do this. Okay, path and context. That's obviously not correct. Yeah, I don't know, guys. What are we gonna do about this? So obviously something's going on with the modular content type field resolver, but it works for other types. So that's what's weird here. It's adding the field. For some reason, it's got a problem with the nested page. So it's adding field node. I'm just gonna have to check the GitHub repo. So this extends content item modular content type fields resolver. This must be called from somewhere. Add type resolvers. Content types. So what we could try to do is add a type resolver for the problematic item. So let's try to do that actually. So in options, we do this. Just gonna remove this thing. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's take a look then at our Gridsome config and add this in the options. Content item config, content item, we're looking at menu content item. And we have to obviously import that. Menu content item. Let's add that to source. Models, menu content item. And let's try this. So let's say this is a menu content item. This is called after all system fields are set. Now let's just remove this. And export it. But he still doesn't like the menu. So if we don't do that, if we don't await, he still doesn't like it. So overriding field resolvers, that may be something that I want to do. Loops through each content element defined on the field type. Attempts to find the field resolver or type field resolver. Okay, we could try to do this thing. And add it right underneath this. So this would be, so the field is called here we go. So the menu is called menu items. Menu items, field resolver, node field. And they're going to define the value as nothing. No, it still doesn't like it. Okay, but we still have the linked item fields here. And we still have the menu items here. So for some reason it's not registered correctly. Where were we? Here. So this doesn't seem to be working. Let's try it this way. Okay, at least we're there. Assignment to constant variable. Okay. Show me what the value is then. So the value is this navigation menu. No, this is the node. Field name. This is the node. So the value is one level up. Right. So this is the menu items. So if we do this, if we put here an empty array, he still doesn't like it, see? But the menu items is nothing, linked item fields is nothing as well. And he still doesn't like this. And if we comment this, okay, I want to check one other thing. That what if we just exclude the menu at all? Is that gonna work? Because it doesn't seem like the node is the problem here. let's just go back here. So I'm looking for init node here, and where that is used here, create node. This init node, this system. So if type is menu, then we're going to return. Let's see what this is going to do. Cannot read. Okay. So this worked. So if this is type menu, let's see what that is. Navigation menu linked items are now nothing. But we still have the problem. So it's not about linked items then. What's it about? What if we say that we return null here? Cannot read property item of null. So we have to create it, whatever happens here. Okay. I think we need to get back to the start. So for some reason, create node, can get field tags from type post. Field does not exist. Okay, we've been here, I think. Okay, let's try this. No, still nothing. Oh, but it updated this thing, which is good. So it seems it worked. Well, guys, I'm out of ideas. I think I might need to get in touch with Chris Meager, who is author of the plugin, to see what can be done here. Well, let's see if the issue is actually already added, but I don't think so. But currently I don't know what to do with this. So apparently this content item is causing issues. Articles about me and contact, because there is some content included here which is correctly added, but for some reason Gridsome is telling me cannot get field ID from type page. Field does not exist. And for some reason it's really not there. The field is really not there. So I don't know what's going on there. And I can't really figure it out with a simple coding and simple debugging. So I'll try to get in touch with Chris, and I guess we're gonna continue the stream on next Thursday. So sorry for not resolving this, but I don't think you have any better ideas as well. I don't see anything in the chat. So see you next week, and I'll try to figure something out before then.